Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show or back to the show, whichever category you're in. Today's topic, what I've lived through, why I share my past, and why it matters. Let me start with a quote. Some people say, why do you talk about your past so much? Here's why. Because the scars I carry aren't shameful. They're someone else's survival guide. That's why. So I want to talk today about why revealing your past, it can be super helpful for others. It can be helpful for yourself. I'm going to talk about the importance of self-healing before you start sharing your past, because there might be people, places where you want to be careful about sharing your past. You don't just want to be out on a street corner saying, here's my past. That's probably not going to go well. So let me talk a little bit about who I am for new listeners. My name's David Douglas, Dr. D, Deep Dive with Dr. D. One of my taglines is from GED high school dropout, from the streets and jail cells to Dr. D. I live a pretty amazing life today. I'm recording this in my home office and glancing out to our backyard, where just yesterday we had our annual slip and slide. It's water slide now. We rent a big blow up water slide, but it started out as a slip and slide 8 years ago. Every year for my birthday, we throw a big party and we invite friends and family and neighbors. And I don't know, maybe we had 30 people in the backyard coming and going. I get to do those kind of things in my life today. And those are the meaningful things. I was sitting there talking to my neighbor, Keith, and I tapped him. I said, hey, there it is right there. As I'm looking at the water slide, this big blow up, and I see a handful of kids just splashing around, having a good time. And Johnny, the German Shepherd, he was just the lifeguard all day. And I said, that's what it's about. Now, I love my adult friends, right? The adults take turns doing it, and then the kids get it for the most of the time. But it's providing those kind of opportunities for kids to laugh and play in a safe, healthy environment. I lived a crazy childhood, my friends. Just cringeworthy. This would be my quick plug for my book. I might talk about it a little bit in this podcast. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can see me showing the cover of my book. If you're listening, my book is titled Grit Over Shame. And you can get it paperback on Amazon. If you want to shop locally in Ellensburg, you can get it at Pearl Street Books and Gerald's, and you can get it online through Gerald's. You can get it in ebook through Kindle and Apple Books, and you can listen to yours truly narrate it on Audible. In that book, I talk about my childhood, and friends, it was crazy. So this is supposed to be an intro about me. So that, in a nutshell, that's who I am. My overall goal in life is to help people see that they have it within them to do amazing things. You have it within you to do amazing things, period, in the statement. Now, and then what I say is, now get busy, right? Do the work you need to do to get to where you want to go. I have worked in a variety of different careers, a lot of careers. I grew up in the restaurant industry and the service industry. I've been a painter. I've been a long haul trucker. I've been a laborer, a framer, a infantryman in the military, a drill sergeant, an armored car driver. Oh man, sales. I did phone sales. That was not fun. I'm not good at trying to get people to buy things they don't want. I did appliance sales, and today in my life, my wife and I own a preschool. I say we own a preschool, but really she runs that preschool. Man, she does good work. I teach at Central Washington University. I've been doing that for 13 plus years, and I don't just teach, I advise. I'm involved on campus. I love helping young people achieve their goals, certainly in the classroom and their educational, but life goals. Like we had several of my students come to the party yesterday and drop in. Got to talk with Josh and Kat, and Josh is graduating. And man, he's got his job. They're moving to the Tri-Cities. He was saying, he's like, I'm feeling a little, off. He says, I got a work truck. I got a gas card. I got a laptop. I got an office. I'm like, Josh, that's what you worked for. You go enjoy it. So that's the work I get to do. I'm highly involved in the community. We know our neighbors. I always say I want to get to know my neighbors that want to get to know me. We love our life. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. And I'm a brother and an uncle and all those really important roles. I have lived through addiction, incarceration, lots of heartbreak, and the important part, rebuilding. More than once, rebuilding. And I choose to talk about it publicly through this medium, which is fairly new, started first of the year. My blog is out there. You can go to davidadouglas.blogspot.com and you can peruse through there. I've taken whole months and written about my life. And my book, I talked about it earlier. I said I'd probably talk about it again. It's out. And I speak. When I have the opportunity to speak, whether it's about my story, I do that. In the classroom, I don't talk about my life. That's not my job there. I teach. I love teaching the topics I teach. But when I have the opportunity, I talk about my life there professionally and how I've been through ebbs and flows. So today, I want to explain why I do that, why I talk so publicly about my life as a whole, and how it might help you do the same. It might be a path for you. I say for my friends in recovery from addiction and mental health disorders and just life stuff who have turned it around, speak loudly, right? There's a group there. It's called I'm Not Anonymous, right? Now, if you go to 12-step groups or any type of anonymous group, that's great. Stay anonymous there. But you know what I need you to do? I need you to tell the world that you turned your life around and how you did it. Right? What worked? What were the barriers you faced? What were the brick walls? And how could we as a society help people turn their lives around? Right? So let's talk about self-revelation. Okay? I'm following my script here to kind of keep me on task. Let's talk about it. Define it. Right? What is self-revelation? Opening up about your past. Right? And a lot of times, I think time and space is really important, friends. In fact, I want to say this. Be careful about who and where you share the secrets of your past. Like, I was a convicted felon from 1995 to 2010, right? And I talk about it today. I'm a former convicted felon. I don't like public. But you got to be careful who you share dark parts of your past with. Why? Because not everyone's open-minded. Not everyone's educated and understands that people can turn their lives around. I've done a lot of drugs, a lot, and you just got to be careful. Do the work for you, right? Heal from your past, because if you haven't healed from your past and you start sharing that out to the world, there are going to be people who are like, "Oh God, what?" And they're going to judge you. They're going to look at you differently. If you can't handle that, it's not going to go well. So I always say I know there are some people in the recovery community who lead with just talking about all, it's like, whoa. And then they're upset because people can't take that. You got to know kind of the good venues to do it. And if you've done your healing though, it's not going to affect you what other people think. So it is, define it, right? Self-revelation, opening up about your past, especially the hard or hidden stuff. Now, acknowledge that there's some fear with this. Okay? It's not easy to say, here's where I fell apart. Right? But you can't inspire people with a mask on. And I'm going to tell you, I've spoken, I've had articles done on me about my life and my past, right? And even with that, like publishing this book now for the world, it's like, oh God, you know. And here you go. Here's another authenticity. If I do, I didn't share everything. There are parts of my past that I guess, you know, I struggle with how people will view me. There are other parts I don't care, right? So know that for yourself. It is my goal to help people see that they have it within them to do amazing things. And how do I do that? By revealing the truth that I have tripped and fell so many times. I've screwed it up. I had a childhood that I wouldn't wish upon my worst enemy. I behaved in ways in my adult years that I'm like, oh, I was a terrible husband to my son's mother. Terrible. I was not good in relationships. I had some points along the way where my fatherhood toward my son was not good. You know, I talk about that, and I also talk about the healing, right? I think if you're just talking about your past, but you haven't done the work and moved on, how's that going to help anyone? Maybe it will, but it's important. It's not easy, right, to say, here's where I fell apart, but you can't inspire people with a mask on, right? Everyone's not doing well all the time. We know that, yeah, but so personal story or turning point. That's my next segment. So it asks me here, share a specific moment when you told your story publicly for the first time, or someone else's honesty gave you hope. I've got one of those. Or you realized silence was no longer serving you. So, gosh, I guess telling my story publicly for the first time, when was that? I'd have to go way back, probably 2012, when I really started. Let me go backwards. When I realized my silence was no longer serving me, it's therapeutic for me. It's therapeutic in general for humans to open up in a safe space. So here's where I started, is in a counselor's office, in a treatment center. That's where I started peeling the onion of my life, opening up, like, ooh, it's scary. Ooh, okay, I'll do a little bit. I'll trust. I'll see how it goes. That's what I recommend, right, in a safe space. And then I had people say to me, David, you've got a story to tell. And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right. And I tried it. And I had the local school newspaper write about me, the local newspaper. And then for me, writing, I love writing, which means typing, right? Writing. And I created my blog. And it's been several years ago now. I remember, you know what? For a month of March, which is my recovery anniversary month, for that month, I'm just going to write my life. I'm going to put it out there. That was, I think, maybe really publicly put it out there. It's out there. You can go to March. I don't know which year was the first year I did it. And there was some fear with that, but also a knowing that I want to help people, men, people in addiction, people who've had childhood trauma. I want to help them know they're not alone. That gave me the courage to do it. And then overwhelmingly, the feedback that I got was positive. Like, I've gotten private messages. I've had people comment online, and people say to me, you know what, that helped me. That, for me, really, really pushed me to do it more. Now, a time when someone else's honesty gave me hope. I'm going back to my second time in treatment. There would be different speakers that would come out from different organizations. And this guy came out. His name is Terry Weber. And he was promoting a program for people in early recovery, which I ended up going through, which was a huge catalyst for change for me, for my life, and many others. And he talked about this program, but he was pretty open that he was incarcerated, a convicted felon, And yet with that, like I was like, oh, wow, he's saying that out loud, but he says, but my life has changed for the better. And here's what I've done. And here's what I want you to do. I was like, oh, that gives me lots of hope. Lots of hope. That was one time where it just really gave me a lot of hope to maybe reveal my life. This is way back in the mid-90s, a long time ago. I wasn't there yet. For me, it was just in a counselor's office, in a group setting, in recovery support groups, and individuals, who I could tell were heartfelt and listening to me and didn't judge me, right? When you have a past and you're looking people in the eye, when you share a little bit of that secret and you're seeing how they respond. I've had so many people respond so favorably that it gives me encouragement to do it more, because I want to help people. I want to help people see that they have it within them to do amazing things. So, I think it's really important. Like I said, that moment way back when Terry Weber came out, it gave me hope. And I said, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. I want to give people hope. So that's why I continue to do what I do. Why does it matter? You might be thinking, well, who cares? What does it matter? Why it matters is sharing your past can help someone feel less alone. We do this, friends, right? We get in our brains and we get on that ruminating thinking that we're unique in our situation, which you are in your unique experience, but we think, oh, I'm the only one going through this. I'm the only one that this, I've been in that place. And it's been people who have came and shared with me their own story. And I've been like, oh, wow. Okay. Right. One of the things in the recovery community that we talk about is, when we think we're so unique, that can actually be trouble for us. But when we open up and we find out we're not alone, oh, okay. Like, again, yes, you're unique in your personality and your unique experience, but we've all kind of been through stuff. And when we open up about that can really chip away at that isolation for sure, the shame that, the terrible things I've done, the terrible things that have happened to me, and I feel like it was my fault, blah, blah, blah. There's the ripple effect. Every time I tell the truth about my life, it's like lighting a match in the dark. And somebody else might be out there looking for a spark. Again, when I get messages from people or I talk to people and they say, like, I do quotes of the day, and I do them for me and for you, right? I put them out there during the week. And when I hear someone say, you know what, I really appreciate that simple thing that you do, it helps me start my day. I'm like, I'm in. Okay, I'm going to keep doing it, right? Because and then on a deeper level, when you share the dark secrets of yourself, that I'm going to tell you, it's a powerful thing when someone says, wow, what you shared, I thought I was the only one. That's beautiful. So light some matches in the dark. You might have someone out there that's looking for that spark, right, that you give them. So now, what do I encourage you to do to get to a place where you can share more of you to help others? Start journaling. I have, for this podcast, if you watched me or listened to me, I have my original journal from the very first time I started journaling in the early 90s, right? And now I have decades of history of my life that I can reflect back on. It's also very therapeutic, and for me, legacy that I'll be able to pass on, right? So journaling is a very, very good thing. It's very helpful. Or start recording your story, right? We have technology all around us, and we can share those stories. But start journaling is a good thing in some way, shape, or form. And start small, right? If you listen to me at all, you've heard me talk about your circle of influence, those 4 or 5 people that you talk to on a regular basis. Take some risk with those people. Sharing. Those things that maybe you say, I don't know if I'm ever going to share that with anyone. I kept it secret until I was 27, that I had been sexually abused. And I just said that so free-flowing, like it didn't start like that. It started with sharing it with one person, taking a small risk. Someone that, whether it's a counselor or a friend or a trusted family member, share a small part, right? You'll be surprised at the positive response you'll get, the empathy. Be careful, I say. Don't just share it with anyone. So do that. And understand this. You don't have to tell the world, right? You don't have to, like I say, I'm not down on the street corner with signs saying, I'm a former convicted fella and I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I did drugs. I was a criminal. No, I'm not doing that. But I would encourage you that you should stop hiding from yourself. The healing comes when we start talking. Again, whether it's a counselor, your preacher at your church, your significant other, a trusted friend. That's when the healing comes. And listen, your story is you. I was just talking with a friend in the community who has a powerful story, friends. Like people say, I have a powerful story. Man. And I know she's done a lot of writing. I know, because we've talked about it. I've actually seen it when I went into her place. And she has a powerful story. And I say, get it out there. Get it out there. And we were talking about that what people think about us and how people judge and view us differently. And I was just like, man, I don't want to say her name because she's not there yet. Your story is medicine, not just for you, but for others. I said, your story can help change the trajectory of so many young women's lives. So your story is medicine, not just for you, but for others. So here's some hope, and I'm going to wrap this up. You don't need a microphone. Here I am on a microphone. You don't need a microphone to make a difference. Sometimes telling one person the truth is how your healing begins. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes telling one person the truth is how healing begins. Okay? And listen, if you want, message me with a part of your story you're learning to own. I'd love to hear it. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok. I think there's a link on here where you can send a message or email me. drdavidadouglas@gmail.com. drdavidadouglas@gmail.com. Message me with a part of your story you're learning to own. I absolutely would love to hear it. Absolutely. So, if any part of today hit home with you, share this episode with someone who's been carrying their story in silence. If you know someone that has a powerful story, share this episode with them, would you? Because I talk about this for people in recovery. The more of us that speak loudly about the power of our life in recovery, the more lives we can change. Because we hear about the damage all the time. Let's hear about the power of change. And you do that through sharing your story. Last thing, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, wherever you're listening to this from. The truth you're scared to tell might be the exact thing someone else needs to hear. Love to all.